Do you ever wonder why old memories haunt you? Have you thought about writing it out and exploring this past memory that keeps resurfacing? So I did. I'm going to read you my story and share with you how it impacted me. So here's my story. Everyone stood laughing at me in the kitchen. My sisters were smirking and failing in their attempts to hide their laughter. Mom and Dad made no such attempts. They both laughed hysterically and with little squeals escaping when they attempted to catch their breath. Dad had to add further insult to injury and tease me as well. I had it. My 4-year-old self was running away. I had seen it in the cartoons. People run away with their belongings wrapped in a cloth tied to the top of a stick. I needed to leave now. Somehow I felt very small, with everyone towering above me, and at that same time fiery with anger and autonomy. Wearing a shirt and waffle-textured cotton underwear, I grabbed my favorite stuffy and slipped on my rain boots. Being a hobo seemed grand to me. I wasn't trying to live with these people anymore. I wasn't going to live with these people anymore. I walked out the door, screaming at my family that I was running away. They all stood on the porch, which was a piece of plywood on the ground, still laughing at me as I walked out of our yard and down the street. Once I passed the back alley, their voices were gone. They must have gone back into the house, and I was alone in the world. Halfway down our street was Mike's house. He was an old friend of my dad's, although it was hard to imagine my dad having friends. I had never seen him be with anyone. When I got up to Mike's house, he was outside and walked out to me on the street. He always found a way to call my sisters and I boys. We would always yell back, "We're not boys, we're girls." He would laugh and say he always gets confused. Then we would go home and tell Dad what Mike had said. Dad would say, "He's teasing you girls. You can't let these things bother you." It always bothered me a little. Mostly what bothered me was just having to go through the routine of shouting out, "We are girls," whenever we passed his home and he was outside, because not replying seemed rude. This continued until I was 12 for sure. On the day of my runaway, he talked to me a little differently. I have no memory of what he said, but I turned around and went home. As I write this, I wonder if Dad might have called him and asked him to watch out for me. No one in my family remembers this event. I will never know what I said or did to cause so much laughter. Sometimes I wonder if this ever really happened or was it a dream. So it was really therapeutic for me to write out this story in as much detail as I could remember. And in doing so, I realized how it has impacted me throughout my life. So I wanted to share this idea with you. It reaches into the cognitive and, depending on your story, maybe even the symbolic component of the prefrontal lobes. And the cognitive component is part of the expressive therapies continuum. And it's kind of like the basis for my life, I swear. But what it lacks is spirituality, although it does have a creative component. But I digress. So I recommend doing this if you're ever just, living life. For me, my big awareness in writing out the story was the process of writing it out, remembering my street, remembering my family as they were at the time and the neighbor. It also made me aware of, at a young age, how that was my response, to run away. And it still can be sometimes that I want to just avoid the conflict or avoid the situation. It has also represented, it's probably a root cause, not the cause, but a root cause of why I find it hard to really open up and share. I tend to really prefer to listen to others and to hear their stories versus share any part of myself, because I was laughed at so much by whatever I did or said. But of course, now as an adult, I can tell that I was just a little 4-year-old girl doing something cute or something funny, and that's the way it is. So this process, if you try it, let me know what you think. It taps into the cognitive component of the expressive therapies continuum, which is kind of how I see the world most of the time, is through that lens. And it can be very therapeutic to bring up something from the past that you feel you can handle. It's important not to write any stories about something that is too traumatic or too difficult. But if you feel you can handle it, to do that and to explore it. And if you can, I'm always about doing art. So do some art afterwards. Draw an image about something in your story that's really important to you. Like maybe I could draw a picture of the hobo stick or the street I was walking down, or the fact that I was just this little girl. Or maybe you can find a photo of yourself from that time and explore it about who this young person was, or whatever age you were at the time that this story took place. So if you do this, once again, let me know in the comments what you think of this directive, because art directives are not all about art. That's the problem with art therapy and art directives and art psychotherapy, is that it's not really art. It's about the image. It's about the process. So story writing is a creative, expressive therapy. Give it a shot and let me know what you think. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care.